Hey guys, welcome to Jack's Treasures on Whatnot, or sorry, not Whatnot, we're on YouTube. This is What Not Another Reselling Podcast, where our podcast focuses on live reselling on all of the different platforms. We don't edit, this is coming out raw. We don't sugarcoat or blow smoke and try to tell you that, oh, live selling is the best thing on the entire planet and you'll never have any issues. We want to tell you the truth about live reselling.
Mm-hmm.
That's you.
Oh,
the T is for both.
Okay. Today our topic is unlock the secrets to whatnot success. How the queen of surprise boxes built a thriving empire, and you can too.
Mm-hmm.
Our guest today is Jenn from Jenn's Multiverse. She is our captain and someone who has supported us as well as countless other sellers on the app. She's someone who's super generous with her time, and we have had the honor of meeting in person at the Nashville Reseller Meetup.
Yes, and she will forever be our captain.
Welcome, Jenn.
Jenn, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, I am. I love that so much. So I did host, you guys, for anybody. I was a captain for a graphic tee battle, and it was a bracket battle, and I actually drafted Jack's Treasures, and and they were great. They were absolutely fantastic. So yes, I will take that. I feel like that's an honor to be the captain. And I sell on Whatnot, which I agree, and I love that this is a real, like, the good, the bad, and the ugly kind of about live selling, because it's great. I've been live selling on Whatnot for over 3 years now. I've been solely doing it full time for almost 2 years, just Whatnot. And as much as I love it, it is not without its flaws, and it is not without its negatives. So this is going to be fun. I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, definitely. All right, well, we're going to start off with our real talk questions and answers, which we renamed. What used to be called We Want Answers, but that was kind of really threatening, like we were threatening our guests, and we don't want to threaten our guests. We want people to actually come on to our show and want to actually be here. And Jenn was very gracious to accept our invitation. So we have some questions for Jenn, and we always start off with the first question, which to me, this is my favorite question that I ask all of the resellers whenever we meet them. And I know a little bit about the answer before I do, but this is going to be for our listeners to really learn. But how did you start reselling in the first place?
That's a great question. I did sell on eBay a long time ago my bulk card inventory. I'm a huge Pokemon card collector, and I was buying like crazy. And I wanted to find a way to sell off my collection, my extras, my bulk, and I did it on eBay, but it was just casual. I didn't consider it reselling. I didn't know that was a thing. But fast forward, multiple years later, I was actually like weightlifting and weight training and stuff very hard. And I was fluctuating sizes a lot. And I was buying expensive workout gear. And then as I would change sizes, I was trying to maximize my money. So I looked up ways to sell like clothing online. And eBay was there, but to me, eBay was like, you don't sell clothes there. You just sell your collectibles. And I seen Poshmark, and I saw a whole thing. Poshmark back then, it was just clothing. That was it. And I was like, oh, this is prime spot. So I started listing some of my clothes, and then I seen how fast they sold. And then I said, well, shoot, I find good clothing when I go thrifting or garage sales. I should just buy some of that and then sell it and make some money. And then I started YouTubing like how to do it. And I saw there was a whole community. There was YouTubers that did that for a living. And I was like, it was mind blowing. It was a whole new world. So from there, I just like researched. It was Poshmark. Then I started harder on eBay. Then I was like, okay, there's Mercari, there's Depop, there's Etsy. Like I tried every platform, and it was like all uphill and a little bit downhill and then uphill again from there.
That sounds like a lot of what we go through. And stuff, but that's amazing. Now, do you still sell on those multiple platforms?
No, I have accounts. I have, active accounts, they're healthy accounts. I actually did a YouTube video few years ago when I first started Whatnot, and I was like, will it replace eBay? No, I love eBay. eBay is amazing. Well, fast forward a year and a half, 2 years later, I don't sell on eBay anymore. Whatnot has replaced eBay for me. Now, I've started slowly listing back on Poshmark again because of the live selling aspect. The live selling on Poshmark is as similar as possible to Whatnot as any other platform. So I feel like, well, okay, that would be a good transition for me because I know Poshmark. I like Poshmark. There's never been any issues there. If for whatever reason I need to switch from Whatnot to one, Poshmark is my best like option. But eBay, I feel like is eBay is, you know, it's always there in the back of my mind, but it requires a lot of attention, and I don't have that kind of time to put into it right now. So right now, really, my sole income is just coming from Whatnot. But I'm starting to get Poshmark up and going again.
Wow, that
have you ever done a live on Poshmark yet?
No, I haven't. I have actually been reached. Poshmark has reached out to me. They reached out to me when they first started, asking me to come over there and do it. I was like, no. Why would I want?
Right.
Why would I want the knockoff when I get the brand name at like a great deal? You know, that was my mindset.
Absolutely.
But they did reach out recently when I started posting some items over there. They reached out again and said, "Hey, are you interested now?" And I'm like, I'm getting there. I'm kind of getting there. So I'm waiting for the right opportunity to be like, yes. And do I get any special perks, you know, like to maybe see if I can get a boost or promo. I don't know how it works fully yet over there, but I'm planning on it. I just haven't done it yet.
Well, I know that has Jamble ever reached out to you? Because I know that they reach out to a lot of YouTubers. Oh, and by the way, just before we go any further, there will be links down below to Jenn's her Whatnot account, and also we're going to link her YouTube account down there below, so you can check out
anything else she wants linked.
Yeah, anything else that she wants linked, I will link down there. If you want me to link your Poshmark, I can do that too. But has Jamble ever reached out to you?
They did. Yes, they did. And I told them, hey, it sounds great as soon as you open up the app to Android users. And they were like,
okay.
Oh, yeah. Because it's just Apple user. Yeah. And I was like, it has like, there's no thought in Jamble for me because it was strictly just for Apple users. As of now, I don't know. I think it still is. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. So I was like, well, you're cutting out. Like they're cutting out such a huge audience that even if I had an Apple, there's still not a whole lot of cause for me to go over there. And I have horror stories about Jamble. I don't know. I mean, most of the time people don't hear the good stuff about anywhere anyway, but I do hear a lot of horror. So I would have to do a lot of research into Jamble, even once they do open up to Android users.
I will say we've got an account only because I don't want to talk because of this platform is the reason why we have the account, because I don't want to go on to here and say, oh, don't go to Jamble because blah, 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 blah. This is what you heard. This is what is on other YouTubers' channels. I'm always going to talk from experience.
Yeah,
so,
I like it.
We do have an account on there. We have not sold on there yet. I have been on there and watched some of the shows. And I think it might be a little bit harder for Tracy and I to go on there to do, because they seem like it's more of a luxury item. And we don't really sell a lot in the luxury category as far as like
pure clothing.
Yeah, or just pure clothing. We could probably do graphic tees, but it's just something that we're thinking about in our future for the podcast mostly, because we are very super happy with Whatnot, even with the issues that Whatnot has been experiencing, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on too.
Next question. How did you come up with your name, Jenn's Multiverse?
Oh, that's a good question. So when I started selling on Poshmark, it was your Posh Closet. And I said, okay, I'm going to be like, this is Jennifer's Closet. And I was like, well, that doesn't have a good ring. And I know like Jenn's Gems, and it's always with the star, if you guys know the Gems hologram. And their whole like aesthetic. So I was like, oh, I'm going to be Jenn's Closet Gems. I'll throw in closet in there. So I was Jenn's Closet Gems for a long time. And I started YouTube. It was Jenn's Closet Gems. And then when I started branching a lot heavy on eBay and everywhere else, I was like, closet doesn't make as much sense anymore. And for like a YouTube channel, it doesn't have a good ring. Well, I love Marvel. I love Marvel. I love the multiverse. I love like space-time continuum. I love the whole concept. And I'm also all over the place in my own brain. I like a lot of everything. I don't have just one niche. I don't have just one interest or one hobby. So I just kind of said, you know what? I'm like a whole multiverse in my head. And then I just thought, well, Jenn's multiverse, like that sounds pretty good. Like there's, Steven's universe. And I was like, but Jenn's multiverse. It's even more of a magnitude than universes. It's multiverses. So it just had a good ring to it for me. And I was like, I like that a lot. And it's very umbrelling to anything that I think I would want to do, even in like a different business scale. So it's going to stick with me forever, I think.
I will say one thing, it's memorable. When you hear Jenn's multiverse, it's something that sticks with you. And I mean, we didn't do this on purpose, but Jack's Treasures is that same way, is that when we go around and people say Jack's Treasures, it sort of flows. Jenn's multiverse, it flows right off the top, where Jenn's Closet Jenn has a bit of clunkiness to it. If we were to say Brian's Treasures or Tracy's Treasures or B&T Treasures, it has a clunky feel to it, where Jack's Treasures
I don't know, I kind of like Tracy's Treasures.
You like Tracy's Treasures?
I kind of like that.
That sounds pretty good.
Oh my God. Let's just X Brian off of the screen.
Just Tracy's Treasures, that's all.
Well, you should be doing your own YouTube of Tracy's Treasures.
No, thank you.
You'll just have to show up with your black wig and everybody will think you're Tracy, Brian.
Oh my gosh. We will be talking a little bit about wigging a little bit later on also. Now today, one of the things that we're going to talk about, and I will say Jenn is not a niche seller. She sells in a lot of different categories. But when we say Jenn is the queen of mystery box, surprise sets is what they call it now. Any of that right now, I am telling you, if you do not believe me, just stop watching the video now. Okay. She is the queen of doing this, guys. So we're going to start asking some questions now about that particular aspect of it. So what made you choose surprise boxes or surprise bags as something to sell on Whatnot? And is it profitable at this point?
Yeah, great question. So it happened, what I'll reference it as saying mystery boxes, because I think that's what everybody as a whole will understand them as. Whatnot has changed their terminology to call them surprise sets. And more so, I think, to reduce like a gambling, or it can be anything and everything from a piece of paper to a gold bar. So they're trying to narrow it down. So Whatnot refers to them as surprise sets. In general, it is a type of mystery game or mystery box. And I actually started doing it for right at the end of like kind of COVID. Everybody was coming back a little bit. It was my first Christmas on Whatnot, and our family wasn't going to gather the way it had normally did for Christmas. And every year my family plays White Elephant, and I'm talking about 20 to 30 people that bring a gift. It's a wrapped gift. Wow. You bring them, you put them in a big pile, we circle around, we draw numbers, and we go and we open up a gift, or we can steal somebody else's, right? And it's a lot of fun. It's fun, it's competitive, but it's just interesting. So I knew I wasn't going to play it with my family. I decided, how can I bring this to play with my friends on Whatnot? How can I bring this to like try it here? And it started there, doing the White Elephant, stealing boxes, stealing items, stealing contents, locking things in. And it was so much fun. It was so much fun for me. It was so much fun for people that I started doing it like once a month. and then once every few weeks, and then once every 2 weeks, and then once a week. And then it's like, I love it. I love it so much. It makes live selling, playing a kind of game like that, a thought process game, a fun game. It's interactive, and I feel like it built a really strong community for me of friends and that are supporters versus like just buyers. And so now I've just incorporated all sorts of different ways of doing it, because of course over time Whatnot's policies have changed and updated, and it's narrowed it down a little bit, and so that's just kind of, I enjoy it so much, and I feel like not everybody can do it because it is a lot harder than it looks. And it's about like the long game versus like a quick sprint, and some people go into it just trying to make like a quick buck, and then that's it fails for them. So I enjoy it. Yeah, I enjoy it a lot. It's a lot of work.
I do want to mention two things that she said. Okay, one, she referred to the people on Whatnot that are buyers. She literally referred to them as friends. And that is an amazing thing right there, that she literally has created an atmosphere in her rooms. If you have never been in her rooms, please click the link down there below. She's on all of the time. Go into one of her rooms, and I'm telling you, you are going to feel like you're sitting in her living room right now, and she's getting ready to present to you this amazing plate of food or whatever it may be, and just that one thing. That was one. And the second one is when she referred to why Whatnot changed the mystery boxes. One of the things that we thought when we saw the changes coming through is that there was a lot of negative connotation to the mystery box because of some of those really big sellers that are no longer on Whatnot that do these mystery boxes that were just really, really shady and really, really bad. And what ends up happening is what do they say? One bad apple spoiled the whole bunch. And that is not Jenn's Multiverse.
I will also say probably not just the big sellers, also smaller sellers who see it as a way to make money, and they're like, oh, we'll try that. And they weren't necessarily putting the same level of thought into it that someone like Jenn or Flippin' Mimi or someone was.
Yeah, because there are some great sellers out there that were doing these mystery boxes that literally have been affected greatly because they weren't able to adapt. Jenn has been 100% able to adapt and not fight it, but adapt it, and not only adapt it, make it work for her, which is, I mean, it speaks volumes for it. Actually speaks volumes for it.
Thank you. Yeah, they're very strict. Whatnot has a very, very strict surprise set policy. Absolutely very strict, but it's not the most clearest or specific because, as you can imagine, people are creative and their imaginations can take them from doing all sorts of things on the app. And it's hard for Whatnot to imagine, scenarios for every single situation. So their policy is a little bit broad and subject to interpretation, and ultimately they have the final say. So sometimes you miss with what you think is good, and they come at you and they're like, that's not. And then so you have to like try and learn. And unfortunately, some people don't even read the policy. They just see other sellers doing it, right? Like they're just buyers and players, and they watch and they're like, that's so much fun. I want to start selling and I want to try that. So now they're following somebody who is doing things outside of policy, and then they're also doing other things that are outside, and so then it makes it kind of chaos. So it's a little bit scary because at some point Whatnot might just throw up its hands and be like, we're going to cut it, which I hope not, because I think that's a huge difference in Whatnot as like a live selling aspect. But if the rotten eggs start to overtake the whole entire thing, it might just be easier. But for now, it is very profitable for me. It's very lucrative and fun, and I enjoy it a lot. That I'm going to continue doing it until I can't otherwise. But at the same time, I gotta keep settling in the thought that I may have to get back to just straight up individual auctions. And hopefully that never happens, but it might.
Right. I agree with you 100%.
What's the key to curating an irresistible surprise box that keeps buyers coming back?
Oh yeah, I love that question.
That's a great question. It's definitely the seller's job to source properly. The lower that I can source an item, of course, the lower I can start a box, or the better items I can put. So the key is literally having good stuff. Okay. It's having desirable things, trendy things. I have adapted to having nothing but new items now and new with tags, because if somebody gets something that they don't necessarily like, it's new with tags. A lot of places will take exchanges. It's new with tags, so it's perfect to gift. It's new with tags, so it will hold a higher resale value if they want to resell it. So I'm not exiling the market from all of those people willing to bid if they don't get what they want. So I've learned that having new with tag products, trendy, desirable products, brand names that people know, they've been around forever, that people love, characters that people love and are adorable, quality is top notch. Now, those things are a little bit more expensive than if you just go to a thrift store and buy something pre-loved that has some dings to it. But that's where it comes in. It's not the buyer's problem to worry about how much I buy the things for. It's up to them to determine what they want to pay. So I source every single day, hours a day, whether I'm physically out, whether I'm on multiple sites, whether I'm in, other apps trying to find deals, whether I'm taking advantage of sales. And my sourcing is probably, I would put my sourcing up against most other new with tag or retail arbitrage sellers as being some of the best sourcing possible, as far as I'm paying probably lower than 99% of other sellers. And I could be wrong. There could be other sellers that think the same way and are thinking like that too. But that's what you got to think. You have to think that you are sourcing so good that nobody can keep up with you. And as long as you're thinking that, then you're doing well for you, which means you're offering a good price to the buyers and good items that they want. But it's hard. It is hard.
Wow. That, that was amazing right there. I mean, that could be a podcast just in and of itself of talking about sourcing. And I know that you do YouTube videos. And you do yes, I know you've done some on shipping, but sourcing, wow, that would be amazing stuff just to see right there. Well, this next question, you sort of touched on it a little bit, but do you follow trends when you're building your boxes, or do you just focus on more of the timeless appeal?
It's definitely a mix. You have to have the trends to get people to the room. You have to have the desirable things, the brand names that people want and are searching for and are hot right now to get people there. But to keep people there and to keep them coming back, you also have to have unique, rare items that nobody else is selling. The brands that nobody knows exist, but the item is amazing. The item is cute. It's pretty. It's gorgeous. It's different. You have to have, and so I think that's one of the big things with me is that I try to sprinkle in. I don't care about the brand. I don't care about, how much it retails for. I care about, is it unique? Is it different? Do I think it's cool looking? Do I think, I'm like, that's badass, or that's like amazing, that's beautiful, and it's a good quality. And so that keeps people continuously playing because they're not seeing the same thing over and over and over again. They're not seeing the same thing that they've seen in everybody else's room. They actually are seeing something that's only in Jenn's Multiverse. Oh my gosh, that is a Jenn's Multiverse bag. Like I hear it a lot. Like that's totally a Jenn's Multiverse bag. That's totally a Jenn's Multiverse color or whatever it is, right? And so I'm sourcing to the things that I like and I love. And only Jack's Treasures can source to the things that they like and they love. It's like people, right? They see cats, like, oh my gosh, cats, Jack's Treasures were like that. Or like, oh, you guys would bring the cat, right? Like everybody has to have their own like individual personality and what they sell, or else you're just one of the many other thousands and people that are selling the same thing. So you definitely
Yes.
need both. You definitely need. I'd probably do like a 75-25% split. My
Okay.
70-30 maybe, because I do try to have more of what the trends are, but I try to have a good portion also of just different.
Almost like a trends unique, you know. Yes, this is trending, but it's very unique. And I will let you know, we have run some of our retail arbitrage items, and I guarantee you, when Jen's in the room, I know where that guy item is going.
Yeah.
It ends up going to Jenn, and we do a lot of trying that same thing, especially Tracy. Tracy, I will bow down to Tracy on this every single time. She is an amazing sourcer. She's a better picker than I am by far. She knows the
I believe
trends. I
that.
don't know trends. Oh, it's totally 100% true. I just love to have fun, and I have fun when I go. And for me, it's one of those things where, well, I know that this thing is valuable. Well, I know that this thing is cool. This thing is cool, so it's got to be trending. So I'll hold it up to try to sell it, and I'm sitting here thinking, going, man, I'm gonna get $50 for this thing, and it goes for $3. You know, and I paid $50
Well,
for
something
it. So.
something I've learned doing Whatnot versus doing eBay is sometimes I don't even look at the comps or anything. I'm looking at an item and it's like, does this have a perceived value? It doesn't matter so much what the true value is.
Mhm.
What is the perceived value to someone who's seeing it for 20 seconds on the screen?
Yes, that's a great way of looking at it. That's what comes in with the entertainment value too of Whatnot. I think like something can be perceived as a higher value, not only at what it looks like, what your audience is, but how you're presenting it as well. You know, like if it looks like, oh, this is something cool, like Jack's Treasures has this, and that, like it could up the value just by, you know, the person selling it or in the type of way that they're selling it. I think that's like the entertainment portion, is that so many people don't understand that it doesn't matter if it's selling for 50 on eBay and somebody pays 70 for it on Whatnot.
Right.
It's like they're having fun. They enjoy the people they're buying from. They trust the people they're buying from. They're having fun in the show, and they're hanging out, you know, so it's worth paying more for the items.
And they actually are seeing the item too. No matter what you do on eBay, no matter how many pictures that you take, you cannot show that thing the way that you can on a live selling platform.
Yeah.
You know, you just can't do it.
How do you balance value and profit when you want every box to feel like a winner for the buyer?
Feel.
Yeah.
It's in quotes. It's in quotes on the paper too. She just didn't put the air quotes.
Feel.
But that is a big thing. You want everybody to feel like a winner. In your shows, I hate to say it, everyone feels like a winner, no matter what.
Well, a lot of it is trying different types of items. Like I'll stick with bags as an example. Everybody loves Loungefly bags. They love them. Okay, I'm never gonna have just one Loungefly bag in a 10 round spot and then like 9 other bags. Okay, because that's like everybody's gonna be chasing that. So I'm gonna have one happy person and 9 not happy. The idea, right? The trick is to get all 10 happy. The only way to do that is to have as close to perceived value as possible, right? I mean, I love that perceived value. That's perfect. Is my audience, I have trained in the sense of bringing in people. I'm not going to only have Loungefly. I'm going to have what are brands that have been around forever? Steve Madden, Juicy Couture, Wrangler. I live in Texas. I'm going to bring you guys some Western stuff. I'm going to bring you guys some boho. I grew up in the 90s. I'm going to bring y'all some nostalgic. I'm going to bring some Looney Tunes. I'm going to bring some. I love Pokemon. It's a passion of mine. You go to a lot of other shows, they only have maybe Disney. You come here, you have Pokemon. I pretend to be a wizard in my shows because I love Harry Potter. So I'm also going to bring you Harry Potter items. So even though I may have, you know, maybe like I'll have 3 Loungefly bags and then 7 the others are a mix of still items that I'm able to source a little bit for a lower price, that I'm able to find a little bit easier to buy in bulk, or they are at least fun character bags that I truly enjoy. So maybe I'll have a Pokemon and a Harry Potter bag that are a lower value cost, but I've drawn in a crowd of people that love Pokemon and Harry Potter. So if that's what they end up with,
you want to show her these two?
they love it, you know?
We just picked up a couple of Harry Potter bags today ourselves.
This is one of the Harry Potter bags again. Now this is Loungefly. Now look at the bag. Isn't the bag beautiful?
It's gorgeous.
Right? Now look at this one that we just
That's
got.
the Patronus charm, by the way.
This one's just a Wizarding World. So
but then look at this one.
I like
here.
this one better. I really do.
Look at that one. Right?
That one's
but this
good.
is not Loungefly. That one's not a Loungefly, and this one is a Loungefly.
And that's it. See, that's it. Some people don't. I have a huge audience that don't care if they win a Loungefly or not. And other people who play in other shows, they are so shocked when somebody does not steal a Loungefly. They're like, "Well, I would have stole the Loungefly." I'm like, "Yeah, but I sell and I market towards everybody, a variety of multiverse personalities." That's the charm. Like, it's literally. If
I was going to carry one, I would be carrying the non-Loungefly of those two because I just think it has a much cooler look. So you never know.
Yeah, bags that people can collect, bags that people can use, bags that people can gift, bags that people can use in a throwaway sense. It's okay if it gets damaged, but they're going to use it until it dies. You know, it's all it's hard to not assume what people want. You have to actually do the work into remembering and learning and asking what they want. And then if you bring more of what everybody wants, it's hard to go wrong.
Right.
Agree. That is amazing. God, she's so good. Yeah, I know.
Okay. I was making sure you knew.
Oh, okay. Being that your shows are often games, I was in, by the way, her Deal or No Deal game, which was phenomenal. Okay, you weren't there. I was there. That was me. It wasn't Tracy. Okay. How important is sportsmanship during your live sales, and what tricks do you use to keep people watching and buying?
That's a good one. I use sportsmanship all the time. So White Elephant is a stay or steal game. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not for sore losers. And I say all that. I give this spiel to tempt people to not swipe if the game is not for them, or to learn first, right? But I do say, however, that being said, I do appreciate good sportsmanship. Okay, so you might kind of joke and jab a little and stuff like that, but it's all in good fun. It's all in good sport. I actually mention that a lot, that I do not tolerate bad sportsmanship or whiny hurt feelings, you know. And I think that's very important to kind of to set the tone for what you expect in your show. But I don't drill on that a whole lot. Okay, instead I wear a pickle costume, or I do fun makeup, or I wear cute little Disney ears, or, you know, I get dressed up in a theme. I did Deal or No Deal, and I said, I want this to stay fun and lighthearted. So I had a light up wand and I pretended no magic, you know? So I was like, this is perfect. Now I only have a wand. I have some cool wings. My Deal or No Deal is a Tinkerbell thumbnail, like a fairy thumbnail. I'm going to put my wings on and I'll be an actual host of a show. So now I'm not just selling stuff. I'm hosting a show. And what do people like? They like to watch entertainment. So now people are there. They're not going to buy. They don't care to play. They don't have any money to play. They're not going to spend. They don't even have a card linked up to, but they're going to stay and watch because they're watching a show and they're getting entertainment and they're curious and they're having fun. I do run giveaways also. I adjust based on how sales are going. My sales are going well. I will up giveaways. If they're a little slow, I take longer to run in between. But I do run giveaways because that's also, first of all, you people are buying from me. I want you a chance to get a little something. And the people aren't buying from me, I want to maybe tempt you to stay in a little longer because you have a chance to win something without even having to pay. So there's a lot to that I focus a lot on entertainment. I really do. Sometimes the honey will tell me, why do you do that? I enjoy it. I think you have to genuinely and authentically enjoy it. But I enjoy it. So I try to bring a lot of entertainment on top of the good stuff.
Well, we did that the other day when we did a battle of the best cookie jars.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, the cookie. I didn't see y'all's. I saw some of them, but
well, mine is actually linked down below in the live on the lives, because we do stream our shows live onto YouTube, so
You
that
keep
I can
talking. I gotta
vet
go
them.
take chicken out.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
listening though.
Go take your
Okay?
chicken out. Okay, Jen. Oh, look at all of the lounge fly that she has back over there. I'm pretty sure one
While
of those
she's
came
taking
from
her
us.
chicken out, let's talk about the one time or the couple of times we've done a mystery show on Whatnot. That
Yeah.
was prior to the current set of rules.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit easier to get started and do it. And I enjoyed our experience, but it is not something I could do every day.
I will let you know, one of the biggest things for us was to make sure that we undervalued everything.
We did.
So when we set our floor was, I think we set our floor at $15.
$15.
Our floor was actually $20.
Yeah.
You know, when we did ours.
We were just talking about the twice we've ever done a mystery show, and it was back before the rules changed and everything, and it was part of Raid Trains, and we enjoyed it, but it is not something we have the bandwidth to give to every day.
Mentally, right?
Yes.
Yeah, our biggest thing was what we sort of we've been touching on a lot of with the discussion is having that one seller, because you mentioned it in the thing, or that buyer, that one buyer that is disappointed.
Yeah.
And then they start whining, and then it's like, you know, we've actually had to develop a little bit of a thick skin ourselves, because when we're running one of our shows, Tracy will say, and I'll say in the chat, I said, look, we don't do refunds unless it's a mistake on our part. With these things, we're selling video game consoles that are untested. And so far we've had people that come in and say, one guy came in and literally, this was what he said. He said, I'm sorry. I'd like to cancel this. I bid too much. I'm sorry you bid too much, but no, I'm not canceling it on you. But yeah, it's just one of those things. And so for us, for Tracy and I, it was like, gosh, we just don't, we undervalued. We literally, the value of our bag.
When we did them,
we said, well, our bags are going to be, we're saying that our value of our bags is $15 when the actual value of our bags was like $20. And then we even started them off at 10 because we were scared. We were so scared that
it was not a good long-term business model for us going in that direction. But
I think that's fair. Yeah. A lot of people, you know, which you can tell you're a good seller really trying to, but yeah, for the, it's so hard finding that balance of being a good ethical seller, but also not getting, you know, screwed financially.
Right.
It's hard.
Yeah, I think if we were to do that, we would probably lose a lot of money.
Yeah,
I will say I do love
do that long term.
Since Whatnot changed from because back then you had to provide a floor, a ceiling, and an average of what's included.
Mm-hmm.
I do love. At first, I thought that was the stupidest thing, but I love that they took that away and you can't do that anymore. And instead, you have to provide, you know, it takes a little away from the surprise, but you do have to provide a list of the items that are in, like the condition and the brand and a name for the items that are in there, because that holds the buyers a lot more responsible for their own purchasing. I'm not putting a price on what these items are valued at. You determine your own value. If, you know, I'll start my boxes, right, 35 and they get bid up to 50, 55, 60. They're determining that the value is worth that because of the checklist, because of maybe I show a picture, or because of the way I present the game, you know, because of the fun. So I think that's been a lot more helpful, because, you know, a lot of people would argue about what floor, ceiling, and average is. Is it off of the retail? Is it off of the resale?
Yes.
Is it off of current market? Is it off the highest market? Well, do you compare
retail price
here or there? Well, I see it on this site for this much. So it was way too confusing, I think, and people were inflating the value a lot more so because they would use a listing price instead of a sold price. And, you know, you guys know how that goes. And so I like that they took that away. That ended up being a good thing, I think.
I agree with you.
What is the craziest item you've ever included in a box, and what was the customer's reaction?
Oh, I've been waiting for this one.
Well, back in the day when we could mix items and it was a true genuine surprise, like that was real shock factor. I have pulled out pulled out a lot of beavers. Okay. Pulled out a lot of beavers, different styles, right? Different, some naked ones, some not so much. Do you guys have that pencil sharpener?
We do. He's pulling it down now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Jen's a beaver right here.
Yes. I was so happy and honored when you guys won that. I was like, yes,
I was so happy. That's permanently on our little collection shelf here.
Yes.
So much. Yeah, so that, gets people going. And Hanger 909, she would sell these belly fanny packs where it's like a naked, hairy, big belly. And so I had bought one of those from her to put in like a kind of like a whammy joke box with other stuff, but then you pull out the belly and then it turns out people are fighting over the belly. They love the belly, and so I was like, okay, people love the wacky. They fight over the beavers. So it's like the funny, silly stuff sometimes was great, which was why it was so much fun doing variety. But I mean, and now the best thing I pull up, you can kind of tell it's like a showcase, or I'll put in it's they're all up there now, but it's mostly Loungefly bags, rare ones, Michael Kors, some Kate Spade, that kind of stuff. But the fun stuff was always the variety shows with hairy bellies and furry naked beavers.
Can't be a show without somebody mentioning beavers right here. All right. On a serious note, what advice would you give to someone who wants to start selling in mystery boxes, but doesn't know how to price or source items?
Ooh. If they're really just starting, it's one, don't expect people to pay the price that you have been paying in other shows. Okay. Because again, that's perceived value in that situation. So a lot of new sellers, they pay $50. So they think, well, they're going to now do a show and sell for $50. And you can't think like that. You have to know what everybody else is kind of selling at, how much things are really valued at, to research sold prices versus non-sold. Doing your research before is very important. And if you get in the habit of selling your own inventory, like your own personal collection first, at a lower price because you don't have anything paid like into it because it's your own personal stuff, it's going to be that much harder for you to then source for items, because you're going to realize you're not able to source for items low enough to sell them for the price that you need. So I would honestly start by not selling your personal collection, but by trying to find specific items so that you can tell how hard it is in your area to source properly. And then to go into, I told people this the other day on Whatnot specifically, that the garage sale, storage unit, estate sale category is super slept on for like Loungefly bags. Like y'all need to go to those categories, because I go in there and I get some great deals. I source on Whatnot to sell back on Whatnot, because those categories are slept on. People just want to go to Loungefly or Disney. I'm like, that's not, you got to go to those other categories. Yeah, go see Jack's Treasures. I thought about this earlier, but I want to say it real quick that I thought that was one of the most cleverest things that you guys did, to start incorporating a Loungefly randomly here and there. You get a raid, let's run a Loungefly for $1. Sprinkling it in between, utilizing them here and there for a raid train. For your regular shows though, like you'll take requests, but you'll say, no, we're gonna run the Loungefly like in a little bit, or like we'll run that one soon, or using that, because that is like how you keep people in the room, how you keep people knowing they may not have everything that I want, but they got some Loungeflies. And then all of a sudden you pop up a Funko Pop and I'm like, oh, I need that too. Okay, I'll add that as well. Yeah, and I think that's smart. Sprinkling in lower priced items, like items that you source for a little lower, allows you to source a little bit higher on those individual 1 and 2 items,
That is something we got from Green 13.
Yeah,
He's
Jeremy
here on Whatnot, and he advised to, instead of spending as much money on like giveaways and things like that, try spending a little bit more. Source, call it a what does he call it?
Loss leader.
Loss leader.
Yeah.
Okay.
And at that point, it just something clicked in our head, and I was like, you know what? I know I can pick these up at a decent price and not lose money on them. I might not make anything on them, but I'm not going to lose money.
And ours, when we do it, it depends on the size of the raid. Jenn rated us, I think it was about a week ago. And when she rated us, the first thing I did was reach over and I grabbed a really good banger lounge fly that we had that was brand new. We have a shelf that's very similar to shelf what you can see behind Jenn. We have one off to the right over here. And so I will grab that and I say, okay, we're going to run this one off for $1. Now, Jenn brought in, not only was it Jenn, but it was her audience that came in. So her audience, which is used to seeing really good things like this, has now come into Jack's Treasures, see us run this thing off at $1. And the next thing I know, I'm grabbing things that I've already run in the show that did not sell and grabbing them. And not only are they selling for more than $1, they're selling for $5, $6, $7, $8 to $10. And it was like the Funko Pops and all of these things. So it's a great tool that we use that we learned from.
But even
Jeremy
a smaller
and
seller,
Jenn.
we're still going to run a Loungefly wallet or a Funko or a cool T-shirt or something.
Yeah, we're now doing it with Mountain shirts because Mountain was running this great deal where you would get, like, what was it, 21 shirts or something? It was an outrageous number of shirts, but you didn't know what you were getting.
Yeah.
So it was all in the month of April, right? Or May.
It was May, I think.
Yeah,
I think it was
we
May.
bought 2 lots of those.
Nice.
So we have all of these shirts, and they're Mountain shirts, and everybody loves a Mountain shirt, so we'll just grab those.
Yeah.
So, but
nice, because you don't ever want to waste a raid. Whatever it is you do, you don't ever want to waste a raid. And if you guys didn't have a Loungefly and I raided, and you kind of just kept running what you were running, the audience may not have matched up. Maybe some people would have stayed. Maybe it would have a little bit, right? But sometimes you got to consider who you're raiding too, to not like let it be a waste, but then also who rated into you because you want to utilize it. So that's a very smart to have something on hand that you're like, I know this seller, okay, and I know like they sell this. I have this. Let me run this as a welcome in. I appreciate you. $1. My dog, do you see him?
Yes, I saw him. That was awesome.
It's Luke. Luke, I have the door open since it's just me, or else he'll start whining. So he's just walking around.
We love all animals.
Yes.
He's my 100-pound German Shepherd. He's a big boy.
What is one piece of advice someone else gave you that completely changed the game for you as a seller?
Oh, it's so cliche, and I hate it because everybody wants like a magical answer or concoction or anything, but it really is consistency. It really is, and consistency, yeah. And until it was driven into my, Jenn, you got to be consistent. Jenn, quit changing your show times. Well, I don't know what day you're on. Well, Jenn, you should have a set day. And it wasn't just one person, right? It's collective and I know, I'm like, yeah. But until I actually committed to it and decided, let me actually do it. Okay. Let me just not be like, oh, okay. And keep complaining and not actually trying to correct the problem. And as soon as I started doing it, it didn't take long either. It was a few weeks of, repetition, because the same people that were there last week, they know I'm going to be there. And then that audience grows a little. People are like, oh, I missed your last show, but I'm here now. And then they all come to the next one. It really was like finally listening to all of the advice of how consistency is such a huge game-changing factor, and then seeing it with my own eyes and experiencing it with my own room, where I'm like, well, crap, that's what it is. Like, it really makes a whole difference. So saying it and hearing it is one thing, but when you actually put it into play, it's the best advice. It's the advice you hear over and over again. It sounds so easy to just give the advice, but it's very hard to do, especially when it's your full-time job and you got a life and you got other things, and it's kind of hard, especially when you go live, because you have to kind of be on. Some days you just want to be in a mood. You don't want to be on. You want to flick everybody off, or you just want to have a cry fest, or you might not want to say a single thing, but when you go live, you got to be on. So sometimes it's hard, but yeah, that's been
We
the
have a
best
little
advice
secret.
for sure. What?
We have a little secret.
What's your secret?
Some of our best shows that we've done on our podcast, I'm not lying when I say this. 5 minutes before the show, Tracy and I were on the verge of divorce. We were
Oh,
fighting. We had fights, like knockdown ones, right? And those ended up being the best shows because I think
Not
what ended
today,
up
though.
not today. Not today. We actually tried to make up a fight because this is a great show so far. But we literally during the show, I would put my hand on Tracy's thigh, and she knew. And because of us having that distraction, even what you said when we go live, you have a distraction, and you go on. You're all of a sudden you're on, and you have to be Jack's Treasures or Jenn's Multiverse, and then everything that what had you upset all of a sudden mysteriously disappears.
Yep.
And we have never, and I want to preface this: we have never ever fought after the show was over, even though we fought before the show. And it's an amazing thing. But those have been some of our best shows.
Yes.
And stuff. So that's our little secret. Shh, don't tell
anyone. That makes a lot of sense, because sometimes people are like, "Well, Jen, you didn't seem like you were in a bad mood." I'm like, "Well, once I go live, it just something clicks, and you have to, right? It's make or break." But it's also the energy that you're receiving, and you probably have great shows because you enjoy the time too with your guests. It's just like live selling. You enjoy the time. If you actually like your people, you enjoy that time with your people coming in, and you have a camaraderie. And now it's just like, oh, all of that stress and all of that moodiness is gone, and you feel better after. It's a very interesting concept.
Yep. I like it. Okay. Well, those are all of our questions. Thank you, Jen. You did amazing with those. This is a new title for our segment. We used to call this one What's New. But guys, I'm just going to let you all know it has been so hard for Tracy and I to find something new. Now, we will obviously, when we're doing our segments, talk about stuff that does come up new. But we're going to title this one now What's Up instead of What's New, because of something that happened yesterday. Now we are pre-recording this, guys. We're recording this on Thursday. We will be launching it on Sunday, as we always do. But yesterday, Whatnot decided to do a update on their app in the middle of the day. The biggest issue that I can see with this, and I know Whatnot, and we absolutely love Whatnot, and I don't know if you remember or if you realize that they did this at one time, but when they used to do at the very, very beginning, when they did a update, they would shut the app down completely for like an hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours. And they would tell everybody, listen, the app is going to be closed off on Monday at 2 o'clock in the morning until such and such time, Eastern Standard Time or Pacific Time or whatever it may be. Well, now Whatnot does not do that. Whatnot is on 24/7. They are always on. And when they are on, there are always people running shows. Unfortunately, these updates, they cause a huge disruption in the shows themselves, especially when you're doing a Wiggy raid train, which Jen and Diana, Hanger 909, and Kara, Flippin' Mimi, Texas, were hosting yesterday. And in the middle, and Tracy and I, we felt so bad for those sellers because they had no idea what was going on.
I couldn't even say in the chat because I wasn't able to chat. I was trying to tell who was it that was, she was like freaking out. And I wanted to tell her, I was like, it's not you. You're not crashing the train.
And I was trying to do the same thing, but the lag on the messages was so bad.
Yeah.
It was I forgot what her name was.
Crystal Max.
Yeah, Crystal Max. It was Crystal Max.
Oh, Crystal.
She was so afraid. She was crashing the train.
She was like, I can't raid. I can't raid. I can't raid. It won't let me raid. So I know that you were the host. So you've seen it with some of the trains. I saw Kara go live, unscheduled to try to do that. Would you recommend that Whatnot shut down for a time? in order to complete their updates without disrupting sellers on shows or raid trains like that?
I think that which they used to, even if they didn't shut down, they would do their update or launch their new feature or whatever out during non-primetime hours. At the very least, right? That at least makes some sense. Now, Whatnot's biggest thing is that they're 24/7. They're open all the time. So when you promote that, and that's a strong selling point for your app, it is kind of hard to shut down, but people are used to a maintenance hour, right? Like our banks do it all the time, and like places they do that. They have to have a maintenance, and I think that just creates confidence and trust. Like, okay, at this day, at this time, they're going to shut down for this long. However, Whatnot is constantly updating. They update a lot. They do. And sometimes we don't experience it in great magnitude. Individuals experience little issues with some giveaways or little issues with the swipe button and, need to close out and update. But to the point that it was yesterday, I almost even thought that was accidental, because that was prime time. That was 6 p.m., West Coast to 9 East Coast. I mean, that's like when everybody is home,
like it was more of an emergency update type thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. It was something quick. Now, that's definite feedback though, because if it wasn't, if they just like flipped the button and said, okay, finalize update, that was kind of dumb. I think that they shouldn't go about it like that. Even though it didn't take very long, it seems like forever during the time. It's disruptive. It's extremely disruptive. And that's all people need, is a disruption to close out of the app, forget about it, and not come back and do something else. And then it's like, and then so that is very disruptive to everything. So I think it would be smarter, yes, if they knew that there was a major update coming, schedule it, alert people, and try to do it, between like those wee morning hours of like 2 to 4 or something. They usually don't take long to update, so you don't even need that long, really.
And I know they have analytics of knowing when their prime number of people are on the app at a specific time.
Right.
And I know that they could do that. Now, I do have a follow-up question. You do have Whatnot's ear, because I know that for a lot of sellers on Whatnot, like us, I don't talk to a Whatnot person. Mine would be the animated chat or the AI chat, if you would call it that. But you actually do have someone on Whatnot that you can contact?
In a sense, like I've actually had the privilege of meeting different Whatnot representatives in real life and making a real life connection, right? And it's just like anything, you kind of network and stuff. But there is a huge like caveat in the sense of it's very easy to abuse a relationship, and
very much so, yes.
I am part of a hosted program that Whatnot does do to help sellers reach out to a lot of sellers in a mass way, where I do get questioned for feedback to hey, what are your people saying? What are they liking? What are they not liking? What problems are being experienced? What can we do better? And fortunately, that's on a month-to-month basis where I'm able to share my own personal experiences and my audience's experience with, these are all the problems we're experiencing. These are all the things we would like to see. These are everything that people are excited about and happy about. Here it is, and kind of get some mutual feedback like that. But I'm also part of the Whatnot, the seller customer service. Sorry, the customer service program, which they're starting to roll that out a little bit more, where it gives me a separate contact for customer service related issues. So it's not support or anything. That helps too, because that's a lot faster. But if people aren't a part of that, they have just the original way of contacting, which is a little bit trickier. So I try to my best utilize the once a month for the whole umbrella of experiences. And sometimes Whatnot will ask me, can you give me some specifics? Can you give me a username? We can look into this for them. We can look into this situation. Can you give me a date or a detail? So anytime somebody has like a true issue with something, I try my best to write it down and stamp it. But I don't actually have, in my mind, I have a networking kind of connection, but not a
Right.
I'm going to go to with any problems or concerns
Right.
route.
Yeah.
Because I also don't think it's fair in the sense of I want to know how Whatnot functions to the mass majority. I don't want to
Right.
know how they function to me or to a special treatment somebody, because there's people that have actual, like, that's their pocket person to go to. They're supposed to go to that. I don't have anybody like that. I don't have like,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm your contact, Jen, when you need me, or where they tell me suggestions or promote me or anything like that. But I feel like it's best to know how Whatnot functions from the majority, how their baseline is supposed to function, so that I can give genuine feedback when they ask for it. So I actually know what everybody else is experiencing versus what that special red carpet experience could be. We don't care about that because that doesn't do anybody any good, really. That we
Right.
needed to
Right.
work. We needed to work for the majority, not for just a few selects. So
Yeah. And just to let you know, I didn't ask for me.
no. I know. Yes, I'm not. I'm just trying to answer that because it's a hard question to answer. Because sometimes people in
Yeah.
my live
So,
shows, they ask me like, "Oh, Jen, so you have connections with Whatnot?" I'm like, answer that because I mean, I kind of, but not in the way people think, like, oh, Jen's got the hookup, or sometimes people think like, well, oh, Jen's got special privileges or whatever it might be. And I'm like, it's not that really. It's me doing a lot of work for all of the sellers as a whole and all of Whatnot as a whole. Now, ultimately, it's to protect my own investment as well, because I'm invested in Whatnot, in my business and everything. But it's more of I work for the app and the people to the people who can make a difference, to try and reach the people that can make a difference.
That it's great though that Whatnot does recognize you for that, and I appreciate and applaud Whatnot for doing that.
Next, we are going to do our segment we call Shine the Light, which where we spotlight live sellers at 3 different levels. The levels are, they're kind of loose, but it's based on sales and followers. And we generally look at sellers on all platforms. Today, they are all on Whatnot.
Yes.
Our new seller this week her name is Jennifer also. Her username is Chaosinmotion. She is a brand new seller, and she's only had 1 show so far.
Mm-hmm.
She has 168 followers, and she specializes in jewelry. Do you have any advice you would give someone at that like absolute brand new level that is just trying to learn Whatnot?
Yes. First of all, have a lot of shows scheduled. Okay. I'm giving her a follow and I'm going there because I like the spotlight. She doesn't have any shows scheduled. And that's, I think, one of the biggest room for improvements that most new sellers, they schedule one at a time because they feel like, well, I don't know when my next show is going to be. Doesn't matter. It does not. You schedule them out a year from now. So at least they're still there. And then when you're ready, you have one with bookmarks to send out to reminders. So that would be the biggest, is to have multiple shows scheduled. Also have a good bio. Have a good bio to let people know you're a real life person with real life things. And relatability, because if you can build relatability with more people, then you're going to get them interested in coming back a lot more. So I think first that level, it's kind of some of those basics is having a lot of shows, having a good bio. She does have a photo, which I love. Sometimes people still have just their generic letter, like the J, or have a photo, because if you just have a generic letter, most of the time people see you as just a buyer on the app. They don't realize that you're a seller. But if you have a logo or your photo, then it makes it a little bit more, oh, they're a user. Do you sell or do you just buy? And then, so she's got a photo, so that's good. And I think that's where you get started. I think that's the basis.
I'm
Wow.
I'm gonna jump in here and say just for a moment, if you are a newer seller on Whatnot, reach out to us. We would love to come in your show, check it out, potentially spotlight you. Most of
Yeah.
our
Oh,
new
and Jen,
Yeah.
whichever side that she's going to be on.
Um,
I think you're actually be on that side.
most of our new sellers that we
Yeah.
spotlight are either people that I've met locally or that have come in our shows as buyers and then started selling. So it kind of tends to be a very small group of people that we've
Yeah.
focused on, but that's just the
And
only.
someone that we met
Yes.
on Peaches to Beaches.
Yep.
We were doing the yard sale with Chris, Cajun reseller, and we literally met somebody, and then we spotlighted
But
her. on the
Chaos
show.
in Motion is someone I actually met on a local Facebook group. So that's how we became
I think
associated
that's
with her.
a good way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there will be links to everybody that we spotlight. We
Mhm.
always put links down below for you guys to go ahead and check them out. And Jen, I want you to know this too. I sent her a note when I did my research. I sent her a note and I said, please schedule some shows, even if you don't have
Yep,
them
you
or you're not
did.
ready for them. Schedule some shows because I'm going to try to send some people to you. And I have a great guest this week. And believe me
Yeah, I
when I
would have
tell
bookmarked
you.
it right now.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully she'll have some before this when this episode
Yes.
comes out on Sunday, because I did send that to today. All right, our growing seller for today, her name is Hope, and she goes by Flippin' Serendipity. She sells on what? Oh, I love Hope too. She sells on Whatnot. She has 1.8K in sales, and she has 5,400 followers, roughly around in there. She sells in vintage glass and more. And I will let you know, she does one of the most amazing things. She hosts one of the funnest ray trains called the Rock and Roll Ray Train. Yes, which unites the 3 original old guys, which I don't know how I get on all of this stuff.
But you're an old guy.
Yeah, I'm an old guy. What advice would you give to a growing seller to get them to that next level? And I will let you know, Tracy and I will be taking notes because this is where we are.
Yes, we're in what we consider to be a growing seller category.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is definite mingling territory, like real good mingling, which you guys do a great job at that. But it's mingling for the point of honing in on where you really want to be, right? So it's ray trains. Sign up for as many as you can. Get on them. The ones that you have fun with, because you don't want to get burned out either.
Mhm.
The ones that hit you with different categories. And then find out, okay, where do I really like? I really like estate sale category, right? That's been great. So then you hone in and you start mingling more specific within your estate sale category, because you realize that's what you want to sell a lot of. That's where you want your buyers to come from. That's where the buyers are going to realize the value of the items you have. Versus if you're in a wrong category, they might be like, I don't know what glass is worth. Fenton, what's Fenton? I'll pay $1. It looks cool. Versus if you're in the glass ray trains and you're in the glass categories, it's likely that you're going to find the people who know, like, oh, that's Fenton. I'm definitely paying way more than $1 for it. So I think that's it's mingling, it's networking, but with purpose and intent on what kind of market you wanna travel to. And then once you have it narrowed down, it's kind of going hard in that category. Continuously, what do people like? Watching other sellers' shows in that same category, what is selling well for them? What is selling bad for them? Is it the same? Because then you start to see, like, oh, I went to 10 shows today, and all 10 of these shows, they all had this one particular item, and it was selling for all of them, or this one style of item. And then you go to another show and you realize, well, this doesn't sell for anybody, or it sells for $1. Well, then now, I don't want to bring that maybe because the eyes aren't on it yet. Like, people aren't willing to pay for it. So that helps you to really understand what people are going to want and what people are going to pay up for, versus what not to waste your time with.
I want to thank you for that one, Jen, because basically Tracy right now has so much ammunition to use against me, and quit bringing all of these dollar items to the show. She just high-fived you and you left her hanging. You left her hanging. There you go. But thank you for that one.
And our established seller this week is going to be Rosey and Jess, who I'm sure you know. They sell on Whatnot. They currently have 14.6 thousand in sales and 17.8 thousand followers. They mostly sell in snacks, but can be found on various raid trains selling everything from graphic tees, decor, toys, and more.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give an established seller for how they can keep their sanity?
Yes.
Keep doing your own thing. You keep doing your thing, and now sit back from worrying about so much what everybody else is doing. At this point, you're established. You know what works well for you. You know what your audience wants. You know what they like and don't like. So at that point, don't focus so much on other sellers and what they're selling, what they're doing, how they're doing. Feeling like you have to be on raid trains and you have to do collabs and you have to network as much. Now it's time to hunker down and truly get your business fully established, like show after show after show, consistency after consistency, bring in all the stuff, as much stuff as you can, having as much variety that you can for options for people and what they like, and focusing on your own personal growth, your own growth goals, your own number goals, your own followers, whatever it might be. That's when it's really important to like take a break from everybody else, because that's what's going to keep your sanity, is not worrying about where's everybody else growing and so is at this, and well, they sell in this category, how come they get this much and I only get this much, or we started at the same time, how come they have this many followers and I have this much, or you're already established, you're you, like Rosey and Jess, they're Rosey and Jess, they're their own business, they're their own establishment, and it's like you just keep going, you just little by little by little. I think once you're established too, you have to realize that this is a lifestyle. It's not a diet, right? If you want to be successful and whatnot, you have to think of that. It's not a diet. It's not a quick, let me lose some pounds, let me make some money. It's a lifestyle. And to be able to incorporate that slow and steady wins the race. So I think that's probably the best thing, is slow and steady and eyes on your own prize, not everybody else's.
I'm telling you right now, I actually love what you just said right there.
Absolutely.
You know, absolutely. All right. It is time to turn the tables. This is where we allow our guest, I think she's going to be over there. It's normally how it works, to ask Tracy any question that she would like. I know I always say it too, but yes, you can ask Jack's Treasures, Tracy and I, any question that you like about any topic about Jack's Treasures or us.
Well, I was going to ask, do you guys ever get into like really crazy fights where you're like, that's it, we're divorcing? But you did answer that earlier. And I'm very happy to know that, you guys work through it and move on and hug it out.
I actually exaggerated. We have never actually got into a fight where it was like that was ever mentioned whatsoever.
No.
I know. It's just a tease. But what outside, and I know a lot of times when couples do this together, they resell together, they YouTube together. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. But outside of this work format, do you guys enjoy some non-work time, like doing similar things, or do y'all have different interests? Like, do y'all like to go bowling or go out for like beer, or no, it's like his hobbies are his and her hobbies are hers?
Absolutely both. We there's a lot of stuff we love doing together. We love to travel. I mean, if you ever see us, we're always doing raid trains on the road and things like that, because
was that me? Oh, that's you.
Because we love to travel.
We do.
So that's a big one. We do enjoy playing poker and pool. We don't do neither of them as much as we used to, but we do enjoy that. Well,
I will let you know, okay, a lot of people are absolutely floored by this when they find out. She is the more competitive one out of the two of us, okay?
I like it.
For me, I was actually a coach, and when I was a teacher, I was a soccer coach. So one of the very first things I always taught my students was that in order for you to win a game, you have to play the game. The winning of the game is never based on the score of that game. It's not who has more runs or scored more goals or whatever it was. It was who put out everything that they could possibly put out and learned and had fun. And so for me, that's the part that I always concentrate on, is doing that. But she's the competitive one.
Yeah.
So we play a game called Flux.
Like, I want to win.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. Flux. Yeah. Believe me, she's cutthroat when she does all of those things too. So we like to play Flux, and we're like collecting things.
Yes.
We both like to collect things, but we do have our own separate hobbies. You had mentioned that you love Pokemon. I love collecting comic books. And right
I didn't know
now,
that.
oh yeah, I've been a comic book well from my actually the 1970s. I have two older brothers, and my older brother used to read a lot of comic books, and so I would sneak into his room because I'm 7 years younger, and I would tear those books apart. And it is so sad for me to see how much value that's in them right now. But I collect comic books. My favorite is Fantastic Four. I absolutely love them. But I collect series. And so I get obsessed with doing those things. And so we do always, I think for a healthy relationship, because this is both of ours, this is our second relationship. Both of us have been previously married. And so the biggest thing is that we spend, I would venture to say, 22 hours of a day.
A lot.
Together. And we've been able to do that without
killing each other.
Well, I was going to say without having a lot of arguments, but okay, we'll go with the killing of each other.
That means you guys genuinely enjoy one another's company. I mean, if you can't tolerate being with your partner for, a 8-hour work shift and then an 8-hour family shift, well, maybe you don't enjoy your partner as much as you think.
Yes, exactly.
But sometimes it's doing different things together. He'll be dealing with his comics, reading comics, collecting comics, and I'll be reading a book or getting on TikTok.
Why don't you just pull up the little game that you were playing before we even started this? She loves video games too.
I do.
And she gets obsessed with winning the video games. Here's an example. Yesterday, and I don't think hardly anybody knew this, we went to Helen, Georgia, which Helen, Georgia is this little town that is themed after Germany. And so it's called the Alpine of Georgia. And every house and every business in this has to be a certain decor. Otherwise, you cannot buy or build.
Yeah.
And there's a river. It's the Chattahoochee River. And we were tubing, and it's about 3 hours from our house. So we drove there 3 hours. We went tubing for 2.5 to 3 hours. Then we ate this international cafe. Then we drove all the way back.
And then Brian dressed like a woman and went on Whatnot.
Okay, we didn't have to mention that part at all. I don't recall that. That was my twin sister, if I'm not mistaken. But then we did a Whatnot show, because that's just one of those things where, in my opinion, what you said earlier, you could get so burnt out of doing live shows, doing selling in general. You can just get so burned out by it so fast that if you don't take the time to enjoy the spoils.
And
of
like
what you're
tomorrow,
doing.
we had decided we're taking the 4th off, and then all of a sudden, all the raid train invites come in. We're doing a 4th raid train. I'm like, nope. This is our off day. I don't care. Maybe 5 minutes, but we're taking that day off.
Yeah, we literally did do that too, where we said that's why for us we do one raid train a year, and that's it, because I don't want that we host. We only host the one, and that's on Veterans Day. And I'm hoping that Jenn will again agree to be a part of that raid train, because I know that her time is very, very valuable and very important to her. So we're hoping that she agrees again, because she was on it last year, and we absolutely love that. Great question, Jenn. But yes, we do have a little bit of, I wouldn't say, I just think that between the two of us, the one thing that I think any relationship really, really needs is you really have to enjoy the person that you're with. And it's not one of those things where I love the attraction of her. She's very beautiful in my eyes and always will be. But on my phone, if she comes up on my phone, it'll literally say, Tracy, love of my life. It won't say Tracy, my wife. It'll say Tracy, love of my life. And that is very, very important.
He's so cute.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I want to say thank you to Jenn, our amazing guest, Jenn from Jenn's Multiverse, for spending this hour and 20 minutes with us. Next week, we're going to be having Archie Biscuit Butt is going to be our guest, and we're going to be talking about selling on District while having a co-host feature, which I actually kind of like that. It's really a really cool thing. I wish that Whatnot could integrate that a little bit with theirs. I don't know. Yes.
I have. I've hit it hard too. I'll have to do it again. Be like, people still want it. I even told them. I said, when an app like District can have it, there should be no reason why Whatnot can't. So why are we going backwards? That's how I submitted my.
That is awesome.
I'll just let you know, Tracy is not the biggest District fan in the world. And we have been approached by different marketplaces on the District to sell on the District. And I keep trying to tell them, saying, I have one small issue, is why would I want to go and start over when right now I have a very good base, I have a very good support group around me, and people are coming to our show. So
that being said, we do sell on the District on the Shop Commons section. It's Kevin the Commonwealth Pickers, where he sells in bulk, and we have done, I think, 3 shows on there now. And it's a great show for us because
it's one of those ones where these are things that they really wouldn't even go well on Whatnot or eBay, but they go very well on that site because it's a retail selling site. So we're selling to resellers who are interested in selling these things and getting them in bulk, and we're not.
Oh, okay, nice. Well, shoot, that works out pretty good.
So, I mean, we're not huge District people, but we do sell on there, and we like some of the things they bring, like the co-hosting feature that we're going to be talking about next week.
Yeah,
I like it.
And so we're going to kind of
next week for sure.
Yeah,
it's going to be on Tuesday. We usually go on at about 1:00, unless Kevin pushes us back, which he normally does. Because they do some like Raid Train type things too, and they want us to be on that, and I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll do that. So I'll be in his show, or the show that's on before us, and they'll be like, well, if Jess Treasures can go on at 1:30, that would be great. And I'm like, no problem. Just don't keep pushing me back, because I want to get this stuff to the post office, because we don't get Instapay on District.
Okay, yeah.
So.
But we're going to kind of try to wrap this up. One last question for you. What does the future hold for Jenn's Multiverse?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I'm looking to expand. My business has outgrown my house. It's been in my house, and it's been taking over the house. So in the near, not so distant future, but not so near, but in the not so distant future, I am looking to actually expand into a separate workspace. That's been a huge goal, and I'm kind of almost there, which I'm super excited for. That being said, that's I'm really gonna pump more apps. I'm gonna pump more selling apps. Like I said, I want to get Poshmark going. So I would love to have Whatnot well-oiled machine down. I do have somebody that I pay that helps me ship currently, and that's amazing. And I would love to be able to expand that hired help into now, okay, I am going to be the sole, runner of Whatnot. You be the sole runner of like Poshmark and listing and stuff like that. This way I can have double the income coming in, while not having to work twice as much. And having my home back, so I get a little bit of separation feel from work and personal, because that's been a little bit of a toll lately. Is that everywhere I go, it's all work. So I need just a little personal space back. So eventually, in the not so distant future, I'm gonna have a separate workspace outside of my house, and have a full-time employee really helping me to push, so that I can free up my personal home, and I can free up my personal time. That's my biggest goal to happen. Yeah. Excited.
And she wants everybody to know the name Jenn's Multiverse.
Yes, Jenn's Multiverse.
Well, thank you so much for being on our show today. It means a lot to us. You are definitely someone we look up to a lot on Whatnot, and it just touches my heart that you were willing to come on here.
This is my
For-
pleasure. No, I really thank you guys. Thank you so much. So gracious hosts. I enjoy you both very, very much on and off of the work side. So my pleasure. Thank you.
And for everybody who's watching, thank you for watching. If you have any comments or concerns, go ahead and drop those below. If you like what you see, give us a like. If you don't, feel free to give us a dislike. I don't mind.
Okay.
And then, share, subscribe, etc., etc. We'll see you
make
next
sure
time.
that you hit those links that are down below. If you're not following Jenn's Multiverse on YouTube and or on whatnot, they're down there for you. That's easy clicks. They're all free. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.